So, Millie Allpenis has apparently attacking fans because of the questionable trailer that really has nothing to do with her. It's more so James Gunn of it all. But of course, she drank the woke Kool-Aid or liberal Kool-Aid, and it's like, oh, you hate me because like I'm a female, you're attacking me because it's like no, because it looks like the same old James Gunn crap that he peaked with Guardians of the Galaxy with. But I want to hear what Disparu says, but that's been making the rounds in recent days. But I'll link the original video in my in my description below if you're watching this on YouTube. Follow Disparu's channel, of course. Like to show support of the original content creator. Follow me on my YouTube and Twitch channel, Talkative Carl, as I stream games, react to videos, and review content. So we'll go right into his video about Supergirl attacking fans after a miserable trailer.
Supergirl, an IP whose greatest competition is a CW show with Melissa Benoist.
Oh, no touching without consent. Let's be honest, babe, it's not a very high bar to clear.
And yet still decided to unleash this as its opening salvo. Yes, it's a movie with James Gunn.
Honestly, Melissa Benoist is probably like the best Supergirl in the modern era, probably to this day. Unless Millie Aldick has something substantial that we haven't seen before. Right now, Melissa Benoist is probably the only one, is probably the best Supergirl we've seen in a very, very long time, outside of the Justice League animated series.
Humor, which means it isn't funny.
Job, buddy. You managed to get most of it on the paper this time.
And yet the cope is that James Gunn has nothing to do with the movie, despite it having James Gunn's dog, James Gunn's comedy, James Gunn's music choices, James Gunn's tone, looks like Guardians of the Galaxy by James Gunn, and James Gunn being the CEO.
And there are people out there, the Shield specifically, wants to defend the James Gunness of his projects that honestly can't help but see Guardians of the Galaxy, and they dare to ask, like, what's the problem? Isn't everybody love Guardians of the Galaxy? Why is that a problem? Because it's the same. It's not necessarily a problem, because you look at something like Tim Burton. You can tell it's a Tim Burton film by certain aesthetics, but not everything is, let's just say, Sleepy Hollow. Put it that way. Not everything is Nightmare Before Christmas. Not everything is Batman Returns. There is styles, but very distinct things that separate them all, so you'll know the difference. Nightmare Before Christmas is very different from Batman Returns. Made by the same person, but you can tell there's a difference. A vast difference. Just because James Gunn's I won't say showrunner, but like running DC, doesn't mean he needs his fingerprints of every little thing where you can't help but look at it and say, Guardians of the Galaxy. You got a girl in a trench coat with a bunch of needle drops. The only thing missing is a CD player. If you Photoshop a CD player onto the poster of Millie Alcock, Supergirl on the Supergirl posters, and you put Star-Lord next to her, you can buy it in the same freaking film. You would not, be disillusioned to believe they wouldn't be in the same film. Like it's another Marvel DC crossover or something, and the general public will buy it. That is a problem. He might be running everything, but he doesn't need to have his fingerprints over every project. Superman, you probably give him a pass with that one because he probably really wanted to make the Superman film. But when it comes to Supergirl, not only somebody else needed to direct it, but they have to have their fingerprints on it. You're trying to make a shared universe. You're trying to start things up. This is supposed to be the phase 1 of the DC universe. In phase 1 of the Marvel universe, there are distinct styles with different directors. The first Thor movie is vastly different from the first Iron Man film. Made by different directors. Kevin Feige, I don't think he ever directed a film before. I could be wrong. But even if he did, there's no distinct Kevin Feige-isms a part of it. Of every little thing imaginable. You cannot look at The Winter Soldier and something like the first Thor film and say like, oh yeah, that's Kevin Feige written all over it. You can't say that. It's very impossible. But it's like he has to take a step back. You're not a director anymore. I mean, you are, but you're not you're not answering to people. You're pretty much you are answering to some people, but very few by comparison to how you were back in the day when you was just a director as a part of a small cog and a part of a mass structure. Now you're at the tippy top of the structure. So it means that your roles is limited to the behind the scenes stuff.
And creative director of it. But no, I'm sure he has nothing. That's not even the biggest drama with Supergirl at the moment. When they're releasing this kind of poster for Supergirl with Instagram face, the most despised of faces, it's me.
I was reviewing last week Mariana McBain's video when she was talking about Instagram face or iPhone face. All these girls look vastly the same. There's no imperfections to for these actresses to lean on. They all got to have that same filter, that Kardashian ass iPhone face. It's like, God, there's no distinctual features with these female actresses. They can't have any type of imperfections or something that they make them very distinct. Like you look at, as she pointed out, you look at something back in the day like Meg Ryan and Jennifer Aniston. They have very distinct features, certain blemishes, or the way their teeth structure are isn't perfect. They're not perfect. They're not meant to be perfect. So it makes them it makes their imperfections more beautiful because they're distinct people. Nowadays, all these actresses gotta go to the same little facial doctor or something. They all gotta look generically the same.
Makeup inspired by Ralph Hall, defined both.
Not everybody needs to be beautiful. Not everybody needs to be a 10 out of 10 in looks. There needs to be some blemishes.
Structure, not feminine by the way, decided to release a range of photos including resting bitch face and this beauty, which when you zoom in is, well, I'm in a wind tunnel. In fact, it looks like the only way they could try and add some desperate femininity into the movie is by, she's gone full John Wick.
Look, honestly, look at this, for example, and play Come and Get Your Love. You can't tell me that's just Guardians of the Galaxy.
Now, yeah, I could understand why that seems more of a masculine franchise, but in this, they just mean she likes her dog. That's it. She seems like an insufferable cow.
I'm not sure who's the director of Supergirl, but I hesitate to say that he has any say in how Supergirl is going to be. It's clearly not his Supergirl or his vision. Hold on. Craig Gillespie, I think. Craig Gillespie, yeah. Known for I, Tonya and Cruella. But personally, I like Cruella fine. It wasn't the greatest film of all time, but I, Tonya, didn't it not do so well as I recall? So it was kind of like, could have chosen a myriad of other directors to have like a specific imprint and say in how Supergirl should work. But no, they picked the lowest of the totem pole of directors that don't have a say. They'll have no choice but to listen to whatever James Gunn input is and can't really, push back against. Because you definitely can't get Christopher Nolan because he will definitely butt heads with James Gunn. It's not something that James Gunn can push around.
The part of the trailer. This is the kind of character that you would just leave crying on the side of the street because she's so insufferable.
Superman, he sees the good in everyone, and I see the truth.
She's so miserable and depressing that you kind of think that, yeah, anything that happened to you previously, you probably deserved it. It just made you suffer as much as you're making me.
Proton didn't die in a day. The gods are not that kind.
And so the only way they could make her even remotely bond with the women that they're desperate to get into the audience is by sticking a dog in it. It's their version of Baby Grogu. Although because it's James Gunn's, they're unable to choose a cuter one, and in every movie he acts like an arsehole. Ow, stop! Ow, stop!
And honestly, I think people are getting kind of sick and tired of implementing cute, lovable animals or creatures that they treat like pets in order to emotionally manipulate females and children into coming to see this film. Again, I think Grogu had tipped the scales into the other direction of being like, okay, we're getting kind of sick of this forced emotional manipulation of the audience. It's just like you can't survive on its own without this whole "no, don't hurt the cute doggy," mindset. It's getting dull. At least John Wick did something kind of unique, where the first one is mostly about the dog or the dog's connection to his wife, but he wasn't palling around with the dog. Even when he got the new dog, he wasn't palling around with it for most of this series. He didn't rest solely on the animal.
Crypto, ow, ow! But you can tell that they know they've got a right flop on their hands. They are not confident in this movie at all. Not just because the teaser trailer came across with, one tone. And then the most recent trailer had an entirely different one. Very strange. Not only is this confusing for the audience, as now I have no idea what kind of movie it is. Actually, that's a lie. I can read between the lines to know what I'm getting. But if I took the trailers at face value, I'd have no idea what movie it was. Music choices have a massive impact on the kind of emotional resonance of anything. In fact, changing the music on something can change the entire meaning of a scene. So you can't go from playing really upbeat music to really depressing music of the same footage. And there's a reason why in the current day people gravitated towards Momoa in this trailer. Is the only person who seems to be having fun. Again, this contrasts with even CW Supergirl, where Supergirl was just, well, she was better.
She wants to remain hopeful. That's one of the things I most admire about her.
A lot of stuff in that talks about being an inspiration, of being a symbol, of inspiring hope in people.
It's been an honor protecting this planet, being protected by it.
Like a superhero. And people have complained that the CW version of her was basically just a female Superman. But to think that this is Supergirl is to, well, utterly misunderstand the gender roles in the topic.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Clark. I have no people.
Men have time in society to waste, because yes, they're the ones that invent, create, and build. But a fundamental aspect of them is they are there for the defense of their people. And so if they slop around for a few years, it's not that big a deal, because they'll still be there if you need them, and they can produce kids for far longer. As well as you need less of them to actually do it. This leads to society altogether caring a lot less about the dregs of the male population.
Hancock!
What, boy?
Bad guys?
As an aside, that Hancock's movie, he was still a hero. I mean, yes, he was a mess, but he still went out and stopped crime, helped people. And even though he was a mess, did the right thing off his own back. This is utterly different than Supergirl, where the only reason she seems to be doing anything is to save her own dog. It's selfish.
Oh, miss wherever you are, buddy. What can I do?
It comes across as, I would let the world burn, but not my own property. They even made Heisenberg cut because he wanted to do right by his family, not because the dog was all I have.
He has 3 days.
You cannot give up on me.
A fundamentally selfish motivation, not because you love the dog, but because how the dog makes you feel.
There's no home without you, buddy.
Because you don't want to be alone.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Clark. I have no people.
None of this is true the other way around, because you are required to engage in your biological function in order to continue the species, and as such, inbuilt social attitudes have been ingrained in...
Now I'm thinking about it. Why does Krypton have dogs? They could have dog-like creatures, but not dogs. Because I'm pretty sure there are some iterations of Crypto being like a normal dog that somehow got my Kryptonian powers. I think that was always been like a thing. Krypton is an alien planet, so the whole thing of a dog shouldn't exist on that planet, but made dog-like creatures. It's something that kind of just came to mind.
Humans to frown upon people who would be causing the downfall of the species, and you are the reason that inspires men to go out and do all of the things in the first place. While this makes half the population more important, it also carries with it a duty and responsibility that, if not fulfilled, will be looked down upon. And if you put it in a story, people would judge the story in the same way they would judge a person in that scenario. This means there's a social impetus, an imperative to behave like Supergirl from the CW.
Her insistence on seeing the best in people.
Whereas if you can't pull yourself together, you are just slobbing. Whereas if you can't pull yourself together, you are imperative to behave like Supergirl from the CW.
Her insistence.
God, she has this lovable smile. Melissa Benoist is honestly, God, she is like the best Supergirl. It's like you look at her, and especially in the costume, you just can't help but, and it generates a feeling of hope. That's what you want. She did an impressive job at it. It's like you look at Melissa Benoist and you want to rally behind her, similar to Superman, because that warm smile, that energy, that just like, you know, she will be there for you kind of thing. That all-inspiring Kryptonian essence, you know, that's what you want. It's like, I'm not getting that from Millie Alcock. I see the potential in Millie Alcock, but with that attitude she's been having, it's not helping. Because people were immediately won over by Melissa Benoist's Supergirl. Immediately.
On seeing the best in people.
That
Whereas
smile,
if you
man.
can't
That's
you are just slobbing
everything.
around, you look like a mess, you constantly depressed and no one wants to be around you.
Job, buddy. You managed to get most of it on the paper this time.
It provokes an inbuilt disgust mechanism,
Maybe
which isn't true
Millie's
for men in that
version
scenario,
will
because society
work
can't
up to
afford
that
to
point.
lose you that way. This is even more
I'm
important.
getting kind of tired of like superheroes kind of work up to the version that we all know and love about them. It's like, God, with the Lantern show, that's another thing. You got a grizzled Hal Jordan instead of like the one that we all know, that cool super cop of space. God. And then of course John Stewart, we gotta work up to the John Stewart that we know from the Justice League show. It's like, God. Can we just have them established and just go ahead forward?
Supergirl is one of the few people that can continue the species. And this does affect an audience's reaction to something, whether it be subconscious or not. This is why you can't go around playing with gender roles as if you can just swap things and it's all exactly the same. Because it's not the same on a biological level to the audience. Gender roles determine your role in a movie, and this seems to utterly disregard it. And sure, it's not that you can't write the story, but it does mean that no one is going to grow attached to it. Well, not unless they're in the same position looking as an excuse to continue staying there. This is one of many reasons why going, well, you complained about Mary Sue's and now she's got problems. Yeah, James Gunn used that excuse too. So many times female superheroes are so perfect. She's not that at all. She's very imperfect. Like male superheroes have been allowed to be for a while. As if the Mary Sue accusation was the only problem, or even the main problem. Anime has loads of series where the main character is a Mary Sue or Gary Stew. Massively overpowered, can solve every problem, and actually the talent in that scenario is coming up with stories where it doesn't matter, it still works. And the solution to a Mary Sue isn't just to make them imperfect. It's not just to ruin them and turn them into a slob. And if ever you find yourself going, well, men, as if these two things are equal and interchangeable, it shows you fundamentally don't understand people. And if you don't understand people, you can't write them in entertainment. You can't just swap over people that have different functions. You have to write according to the character that you're dealing with. This is one of the reasons that I love foreign entertainment like Korean and Japanese, because they actually treat men and women like men and women. They write the characters how humans would actually act in that scenario. This makes the entertainment actually immersive, rather than doing something out of ignorance, or worse, trying to push a message. I think this is one of the fundamental problems of Hollywood. They've become so ideologically obsessed that they've actually forgotten how humans work. You can't change humans to act like you. There are inbuilt truths about humanity that cannot be changed, and you either write according to that, or you write something awful. But the biggest red flag is that Millie Alcock has already come out and started whining about the fans. And of course, we have seen this time and time again, and yet these people still can't learn to shut up.
Just worried that you're not going to find your stride here.
Oh, I'm dealing with the franchise's rabid fandom. That prepared me for a potential backlash. Here's an idea. Make something good and then it won't happen. Choose a better actress and it won't happen. The 25-year-old actor, I think they're putting her age in to say, oh, isn't she so young? No, not falling for your modernity slurs. Is no stranger with dealing with intense fandoms. It definitely made me
Oh,
aware
she's
that something
25. Oh, you mean she's an adult so she can handle criticism like an adult?
existing as a woman in that space is something that people comment on. Duh. Like, seriously, why wouldn't they? You're in entertainment, you're on the screen, specifically for the consumption of the public. Of course they're going to comment on you. They have opinions. They're human beings. No, I should be able to do things and no one is allowed to comment on my perfection. We've become very comfortable having this weird ownership of women's bodies. I didn't know I owned her. I am more than willing to do it, though. I could do with a sandwich. I can't really stop them. I can only be myself. I mean, duh. That is basically response to duh. I love the idea that commenting on somebody is having an ownership of their body. Everything's got to be dramatic and over the top, so we can desperately try and claim we're not an out-of-control lunatic. It's like, no, I'm not being dramatic and out of my mind. People are owning me. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me unless you are being owned. No, this, of course, is a universal truth. If anyone is ever using a stick to beat you, take the stick away. That's why in a circumstance like this, Millie, well, you asked for it. You're existing in this space, and now people are going to comment on it. In fact, I'm more than happy to talk about why I can. You see, as fans, you only exist in this movie for the enjoyment of the male audience, and I tell you what, love, there's just no competition, is there? There's a reason why you can't compete with the CW Supergirl, because it is night and day. That's not even in costume, it gets better. We could even go down to discussing the length of the skirts, so that we can...
Golly, she is so adorable. Melissa Benoist is so adorable, it's just like insane. And honestly, huge fan of the costume.
We could even go down to discussing the length of the skirt, so that we can realize the point of the skirt, as you are flying around and kicking people in the face. And it isn't that. Because I can see why you don't want comments about your appearance, love, when we can do side-by-side comparisons. And you lose, sir.
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
You're an inhuman monster!
I said good day!
Because a basic response would be, of course people are going to comment on what they're consuming. They're paying for a product, and they've had other products similar in the past, and so it's natural to compare. But there's also another angle of it, such as, yes, people are always going to comment on products they pay for and review it. This even happens with inanimate objects like laptops. But what I think a lot of actors don't realize is, you are also an inanimate object. You're not a person, you don't matter. This isn't the same for actors, this is the same for YouTubers and everything else. When you make something, you are simply a piece of entertainment. You're only making it for the enjoyment of the audience. They can like it, they can dislike it. But the comments are part of the job, and you have to wonder why she was so certain before she even got it that she was going to get negative commentary. Not confident in her own piece of work, and herself. Because this isn't simply a women existing in that space kind of superhero moment. You have to look at Wonder Woman for that.
Kal-El, no!
No one had a problem with Wonder Woman.
I need you to give me the stone! What happened to it?
Gal Gadot can't act to save her life, right? But think how long it took before anyone realized. If you're incredibly attractive wearing a short skirt, people have no problem with you beating up the men. I mean, she's magic. It's the only way that skirt can hide so much. This is an even bigger problem when the Supergirl trailer shows examples of acting just as bad as Gal Gadot.
This crime of the Yellow Hills murdered my innocent family.
Funny. That's what I've been calling you.
This leads to a trailer where you've got all the downsides of Gal Gadot, but none of the benefits of other actresses. And there are so many examples of this that it just becomes laughable. Mila Jovovich, Angelina Jolie as Tomb Raider. This isn't simply a women existing in that space kind of superhero moment. Let's just say that in the movie Supergirl, nobody expected Henry Cavill to be taking on the role. No one's complaining that a man isn't Supergirl. Well, except someone, maybe J.K. Rowling's enemies. Now, what it comes down to is, what is the reason that you've got cast, and who are you in the movie for? Because superheroes, by and large, are a male IP. We've seen this before with Madam Web, where despite spending 75% of their advertising trying to get women into the cinema, there was still a majority of men going to seeing there. And Supergirl, male IP. So the reason why Millie exists on this screen is entirely for the pleasure of the male audience. And that means I'd prefer it to be Melissa Benoist. If to all intents and purposes an entertainer is an inanimate object on your screen for your enjoyment, then they should look the part to be there for your enjoyment. This is normal, natural, it's an integral part of continuing the human species. And it's something which has been known for thousands of years. Right up until about 10 years ago, where suddenly we were just expected to expect less now so that we don't, I don't know, make Millie Alcock insecure? So insecure that she came out and started attacking the fans over what is an entirely justifiable response that they're perfectly entitled to do. There's a reason why people are comfortable with it, darling. Because it's why you're there. Now, this is not Millie's fault, obviously. This is James Gunn's. He should have cast someone better. But I am absolutely fed up in Hollywood. Them casting a bad person for the role, and then me getting blamed for commenting on it. Everyone isn't the same. Equality doesn't exist, and people are better than others. You could have gone to any Eastern European country and just found...
As the go-to shield and excuse for these actresses or people behind the scenes or directors, oh, you must hate them because of this, then the third, not because of their skin color or gender. I was like, no, not because you possibly made something awful or you probably casted somebody awful. They desperately want zero criticism. There's an inherent, not even a Hollywood problem, there's a person problem where you just cannot handle any level of criticism whatsoever, to the point where you blame everybody else making their problem and say like, oh, that's because I'm a woman, that's why they say all this stuff. It's not because you possibly are a crap director or a crap actress or a crap writer. Can't possibly be that, because that means you will have to improve. You have to take ownership. That is inherently a problem. It's like, you know, I can't get that mindset, because maybe because I grew up in a different era where people criticize you, you take stock, you either, you know, accept it or you don't, but criticism is free for all. This is, especially when it comes to art, when you release it, you are susceptible to potential criticism, no matter how small or how big. There. You have to. You can't expect everybody just to love your stuff for the sake of it. I love the John Wick franchise. Doesn't mean it's not above approach of criticism. There's people who love the Fast and Furious franchise, but even the best of ones are not above reproach. Why do you think that you, of all people, this Supergirl movie, why do you think that you, above all other films or TV shows, you think is above reproach?
Better Supergirls walking around the street. This isn't difficult, folks. And yet, despite playing this game for many years, testing your theory over and over again that you think you can control male behavior by nagging, by coming out ahead of your own publicity, your own marketing for the movie, and attacking the fans, attacking the male audience, desperately trying to silence them out of some sense of shame for some reason, while thinking that that will advertise you to a different imaginary market that definitely exists, that no press is bad press, because there will be some great, unknown, mysterious audience that no one's ever found before that will actually go and see your movie as long as you attack those menfolk, that the reason your movies fail isn't because they're awful and people don't like them, but it's because those pesky dangly bits won't stop talking about it, which means we must shame them into submission by setting up traps in media that definitely aren't so simple that anyone can report them, that somehow attacking the audience in this way will make your movie a success and will get all of those people that you're insulting to come out and give you money. The problem is, the assumption behind all of this is that I care about virtue signaling. It's that the rest of the world is just like Hollywood, that they don't care about the fundamental reality of something, that they would rather be seen to be morally correct than factually accurate, and that you can actually genuinely bully the audience into giving you money so that they can go to their friends and go, no, I was a good person, I supported Supergirl. The thing is, that's not how the world works. That's not how the audience works. And the best part of all of it is that I don't even need to do anything, because Hollywood's strategy relies on changing all of humanity to agree with them, that through enough messaging they can manipulate everyone to be on their side. Whereas I just have to sit here and watch reality do its work, because you don't have to agree with or even like anything I've said in this video. But because it's true, you'll still have to make entertainment this way, or just continue burning money. The choice is yours, James Gunn. For now. But
okay. Yeah, 100% agree. They gotta stop just using the whole term of bigotry as like a shield from any type of criticism. If there are a minute people who actually legit hate this movie because it's a female led, you're not gonna win them over anyway. But the people who are offering legit criticisms, and honestly, at first it wasn't about Millie Alcock at all. That was like a legit, like, great casting. A lot of people who criticize, you know, the film wasn't about the actress. It's about the James Gunn about it. A white straight man, mind you, who was getting a lot of the bulk of the criticism because he was making a movie that is similar to all the other stuff he's been doing. And it's getting annoying. But then people thought they'd get Millie Alcock to insert herself, talking about, he's hating because it's male, they're hating because it's a female-led property, and it's like, okay, now you kind of antagonizing and causing division where there was none in the first place, to cause some kind of infighting between men and women. It's like, no, he wasn't even addressing you, but now you're going to be forcing people to address you now and making fun of certain still images or frozen images. Now they making fun of your looks, where you could have just been humble, stayed out of it, or just say, be like, hey, like, I understand the criticism, but please, check out the film. Like, everybody worked very hard on it. We had a lot of fun. It's been great. I love playing Supergirl, one of the best characters ever, and I hope to make you proud. That kind of stuff will make us at least make people in general love you even more, because you seem more humble, you seem more centered, grounded of a person that makes people want to see you more. Even if the movie is very average, at the very least, people will praise the actress, and therefore we'll want to see more stuff with you. Maybe not anything connected to James Gunn, but at least we'll want to see you more. You could have just done that, but you didn't do that. You bit the woke bullet, and now everybody's coming after you where it wasn't before. You called for this, and then you sitting there poking fun of you now. Honestly, it's mostly on you. Most I ever made fun of her is about her last name. Honestly, it's probably like a fun last name. Honestly, even if she get married one day, hope she doesn't change that last name. That is a fun last name. Kudos to her family lineage. Because Alcock, really, that is just like a fun name. It's honestly, it's like, I can't imagine her middle school years was all that fair to her name. Honestly, I'm pretty sure she heard all the jokes, but honestly, it got a giggle out of me. Just, at least you will be remembered. I'll tell you that much. With a name like that, you know you will never forget her. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Millie Alcock's little stance he was taking, and what your thoughts on James Gunn and his little plan with the DCU. Because right now, more and more people are losing faith in James Gunn because he's put too much of himself in everything so far. There's no distinct styles. And honestly, if it was me, it would be a while before we even got into Supergirl. Probably would have been at least by the second or third Superman film. Because if it was me, I think I pointed this out in a separate video or a TikTok video, where obviously start with Superman, then Batman, then Wonder Woman. Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, establish him first, because we haven't really lived with this guy yet. Then Martian Manhunter, the Barry Allen Flash, well, so I'm missing somebody. Oh, and Aquaman. Establish the Justice League first as like and then as the first phase 1, and then come together defeating Starro, which is typically the first appearance or the team up of the Justice League, as like a big enough threat that require all the heroes to work together, or those same morphing aliens from the first episode or first two-part episode of the Justice League animated series. One of the two that's too big for one hero to deal with, and then work on the phase 2, where back into the individual stories, where then you can start introducing other heroes that we know, and work with like the next Flash movie. We'll start introducing Wally West, and then by the end of that, or at least halfway, we establish him being like another Flash. Well, something akin to that, and build up like a larger Justice League. This is my thoughts. Anyway, I will see you guys for the next one. Leave a comment below, and I will see you all soon.